So many of you are aware of the term the NRO, the Number Resource Organization. It's the name we use for the collective activity of the coordination of the 5 RIRs. So the NRO aims to be the flagship and global leader for collaborative internet number resource management as a central element of an open, stable, and secure internet. The 5 RIRs have to work together to make the number resource registry work collectively, because it's actually one registry that we all operate a portion of. We have to coordinate to make sure it is one registry. So to that extent, we have a coordination function called the NRO. It's basically composed of the executive body. I'll talk about it as composed of the 5 CEOs of the 5 RIRs. We also do global policy coordination through the NRO Number Council. So let me talk about this. We were formed in 2003. There's an MOU for coordinating the RIR system. We support the multi-stakeholder model, which is a model where all parties are welcome to participate. Board member Patrick Gilmore joining us, thank you. We have a relationship with ICANN that we interface with them through the NRO, through the collective activity of the 5 RIRs. Our executive committee is made up of the 5 executives of the RIRs. Paul Wilson from APNIC is the chair of the NRO. Alan Barrett is our vice chair and secretary. He's from APNIC. Axel, who's here from RIPE, is a board member, as is Oscar and myself. We have a secretariat function. We have a modest staff. Herman and Susanna Gray are the ones that handle the collective administrative tasks of the organization. We have coordination groups which are composed of the leads of those activities in each of the RIRs. So all of the communications leads work together for a communications group. They coordinate our press releases, our outreach, our joint, when we do a joint booth somewhere. Engineering department has an ECG, engineering coordination group, made up of the engineering leads of all the RIRs, coordinate on such things as transfers and similar, making sure that we reporting for statistics, making sure we have common report formats. And then we have a registration services coordination group that works on the procedures and how we actually handle inter-RIR handoffs, for example, how we interact with the IANA to get new address blocks, for example. So we also have informal groups that coordinate among the RIRs in areas like public affairs, policy. Our CFOs coordinate to make sure there's one NRO budget. Our legal staffs coordinate when we have joint agreements to be drafted, for example, agreements with ICANN. So, amongst other things, the NRO is the group that produces the Internet Number Status Report. It's not a product of one RIR, it's a product of all 5 that provide the global stats that you saw yesterday that John Sweeting presented. The new extended stats project is underway to be released in the 4th quarter. You can hear more about it there, common statistics formats and reporting. We do the comparative policy overview, which people may not be aware of. There's a matrix that shows when you're looking at an issue such as allocation versus assignment, or membership versus customer, or we have or policies regarding what's the definition of need, or how transfer policies in the regions compare. There's a matrix that shows the differences between the RIRs. Particularly helpful if you are aware of one RIR and you want a quick introduction to what's different in another. You can go online and look at the comparative policy matrix. We also are known within the ICANN structure as the Address Supporting Organization. ICANN has a structure which includes supporting organizations. When the NRO works within the ICANN structure, we are referred to as the ASO. This causes some sort of confusion. People think there's 2 bodies and one of them is secret. No, it's the same body. It's the NRO or the ASO. We just put on an ASO cape when we're at ICANN, so that's the name we use. Budget allocation. So NRO does have some expense from the Secretariat, also the expense that we pay to ICANN for the IANA team for, the group that was in ICANN, which is now a separate affiliate known as the Public Technical Identifiers Organization. We pay money to ICANN, they pay money to that. So all of those add up. So we've got general operations for the NRO, Secretariat, the communications, travel, and meetings. We have the IANA services, And then, well, we seem to have a line with the same expenses there. That's interesting. I really don't know. Let me think. I should be able to describe that. Oh, the second line is the secretarial expense of the NRO. First one's our general operations. Second one's the secretarial staff. Third one is our cost to ICANN every year. Adds up to about 1.4 million. It's allocated by the budget allocations, which are based on the size of the RIRs. When you actually break down each RIR based on its operating cost or revenue, it's about approximately the same. The ratios of the RIRs are there. So ARIN, for example, pays 29% of that $1.6 million you see there. We also have a stability fund. We've jointly pledged each RIR, if necessary, to support another RIR if it were to be in duress, if it has a circumstance where it couldn't provide registry services. We've all pledged funds and personnel. You can read more about it there under Joint RIR Stability Fund. So one of the things the NRO handles is the IANA Review Committee. So we collectively contract with the IANA to provide IANA registry services. This is administration of the top number resource pools. And as part of that contract, we have a review committee that reviews the performance of the IANA and reports back to the community. The review committee has one member from each of the region, 3 members from each region, 2 are community elected members, one's a staff rep. They have public archive. They review the performance of the IANA to make sure it's serving us appropriately. You'll hear more about that when you hear about the IANA Review Committee report. Those are the members. I'll pass by. Empowered community. This is a strange concept. So when when the community decided that it would be good for the IANA and the functions done by the IANA to be supervised by the community, the IETF said, the IETF already has an MOU with ICANN, that suffices. We said we, the RIRs, collectively, the numbers community will put together a contract and we'll have a review committee. In the DNS community, they said, we want ICANN to contract with the IANA to run the root zone. And so ICANN will represent us. And that ICANN should spin out the IANA as an affiliate. This led to the Public Technicals Identifier affiliate. But then later on they said, ICANN's not completely accountable to the community, or we can't be certain of that. And so we need an extra layer of protection. So while ICANN represents the domain community and contracts effectively with its affiliate, a PTI, to operate the root zone, ICANN inherited a new layer of supervision above it called the ICANN Empowered Community, which has the ability to modify ICANN's bylaws. It's the party that actually legally puts people on the board and has the power to remove them, a whole bunch of other things. So above the ICANN board, there's now the ICANN Empowered Community. When that was set up, the RIRs would ask if we would hold a seat in the ICANN Empowered Community, and we do. We have procedures for how we manage that responsibility. You can go see them online, but it's an oversight body for ICANN. ASO review. There's a function in the ICANN bylaws that requires ICANN to review periodically its supporting organization. And in our MOU with ICANN, it says the NRO shall provide a periodic review of ICANN's effectiveness acting within ICANN. We recently had, we had a review in 2011. We recently had another one whose final report was published in 2017. And that called for a number of things, mostly improving the clarity of how we work within ICANN. The independent review recommendations and the NRO EC, the Executive Council, and the ASO-AC, which we call the NRO Number Council, provided a joint response on the 18 recommendations. You can go read them. Most of them are clarifying terms, making things simpler, making engagement with the ICANN community more clear. But the 18th recommendation was that we should look at the structure of the ASO and figure out what we call the ASO, and figure out what that should be long term. And so we initiated a process in all of the RIRs for a independent review about the future structure of the ASO. I reported this at the last ARIN meeting. Based on the consultation on the list, the discussion in that meeting, we actually published a set of 4 outcomes. One of them says, let's not use NRO and ASO and alternate back and forth randomly. Let's actually come up with one name. So you can go see that online. The other RIRs are also considering the future structure of the ASO. We hope to converge on one set of recommendations. And so hopefully we'll hear about that soon. Technical projects, RPKI All Resource Trust Anchor. Been a lot of interest in RPKI. RPKI right now has 5 certification authorities, which you access via their Trust Anchor locator. There's been discussion of having a single Trust Anchor locator. You can go see, All Resource Trust Anchor, that's slightly different. So one of the problems we have with RPKI is that it is possible, due to the validation algorithm, for an RIR, in the process of like resources moving from an RIR to an RIR, it's possible for an RIR to exhibit overclaiming. If a resource, because it's moving from one to the other, we have to prune our tree, someone else has to grow their RPKI resource tree. And the way the validation works, if that's a mismatch, then there's invalidation of parts of the tree. Because of that, it's fairly fragile. We actually have all deployed now trust anchors for each RIR, which has what's called 0/0, or all IPv4 resources. And that, actually all resources. That allows us, each RIR can have any resources in its RPKI tree, and there's no chance that we'll invalidate the tree through overclaiming. This is necessary because of PKI's validation algorithm. There's actually work within the IETF on a new validation algorithm, which is less fragile, but in the meantime, we have deployed, each RIR has a 0/0 trust anchor. Emergency Backup Operations Project. You heard earlier that we have a stability fund, and we're pledged to supporting the stability of each RIR. The Emergency Backup Operations Project is actually going through some of the steps to plan out how we would recover an RIR, thank you, and how we would recover the operations of an RIR if we actually had to do that. Internet Technology Health Indicators Consultation. ICANN, in its role of overall coordination of the identifiers of the Internet, has set up a project within its Office of the CTO called the Internet Technology Health Indicators Project, which is trying to reflect high-level metrics for the availability, the accuracy of the identifiers in the Internet, domain names, IP addresses, protocol identifiers. We agreed to work with them, and we've been working on developing those metrics. We held an open consultation on how we propose to prepare those metrics and report them when it comes to number resources. So if you're interested in the metrics for measuring the health of the Internet Number Registry System, that would be it. We're in the middle of an NRO website revamp, and in fact, the preview of that is available online and is a fairly significant look change. Should make it easier to find things. Boom. That's it. Questions on the NRO Activities Report? No questions whatsoever.